Okay, yes, I was unfaithful and it was wrong, but we talked it out and ended like adults. But purely out of revenge, he started training and got really ripped, and now it's his fault my friends won't stop talking about how hot he is. Honestly, I've always been the one who carries the aesthetic weight in any relationship I'm in. And with Mark, it was no different. We were together for 3 years, and for the most part, he was the perfect supporting character in the story of my life. He was stable, kind of plain, and always ready to take my photos without complaining about the lighting. I felt like I was doing him a favor by elevating his social standing just by being seen with him. It's not that he was ugly, but he definitely didn't have that main character energy that I radiate every single day. Naturally, when things got a bit stagnant, I found myself seeking inspiration elsewhere, which led to a very minor, very misunderstood slip-up. It wasn't even a big deal. Just a brief moment of exploration with someone who actually understood my creative drive. I was honest about it because I believe in living an authentic life, even when that authenticity is messy. Mark didn't take it well at first, but because I'm incredibly mature, I sat him down and explained that we had simply outgrown our current dynamic. We agreed to end things like civilized adults, or at least that was the narrative I carefully constructed for our mutual friends. I expected Mark to do what most men do after losing a woman of my caliber: mope around, post sad song lyrics, and maybe gain a little breakup weight. Instead, he decided to be incredibly petty and take his insecurities to the gym. It started subtly, with him disappearing from my feed for a few weeks, which I assumed was his way of coping with the void I left behind. I even felt a little sorry for him, thinking he was sitting in his dark apartment wondering where it all went wrong. I was ready to be the gracious ex who still checks in occasionally to make sure he's surviving. Then the notifications started coming in, and they weren't from him. My girls' group chat, which is usually reserved for discussing my latest brand deals or outfit choices, suddenly shifted its focus. Someone dropped a screenshot of Mark's latest story, and I actually had to squint to make sure it was him. He had lost the dad bod I had grown so used to and replaced it with these sharp, aggressive muscles that looked completely forced. It was so obvious that he was doing this just to get a reaction out of me, which is honestly so manipulative. I tried to play it off as a good-for-him moment, but the girls wouldn't let it go. They started talking about his glow-up as if he had actually achieved something meaningful, rather than just lifting heavy things because he's bitter. Chloe, my supposed best friend, actually had the audacity to say he looked statuesque in a comments thread. I had to remind her that he's still the same guy who didn't know how to color grade a reel to save his life. It's like they all forgot that I was the one who made him relevant in the first place. The worst part is that Mark is clearly doing this to hurt my brand by association. By becoming this buff, desirable bachelor, he's trying to rewrite the history of our breakup to make it look like I lost something valuable. It's a total smear campaign disguised as self-improvement, and it's honestly exhausting to deal with. I worked so hard to make sure our split looked balanced and professional, and now he's out here throwing off the entire vibe. He's essentially using his body as a weapon of mass distraction. Every time I post a carefully curated photo of my morning matcha or a new skincare haul, the comments are filled with people asking if I've seen Mark lately. It's incredibly disrespectful to my craft and the effort I put into my content. It's like he's haunting my digital space with his triceps, and it's totally uncalled for. I shouldn't have to compete for attention with my own ex-boyfriend's revenge body. It feels like he's intentionally trying to overshadow my presence in our social circle. My friends are now constantly checking in on him, which is just a pathetic excuse to see if he's posted any more shirtless progress shots. I can see the scene receipts in our group chat whenever someone mentions his name, and the thirst is honestly embarrassing. These are women who are supposed to have my back, yet they're drooling over a guy who only looks like that because I broke his heart. If anything, they should be thanking me for being the catalyst for his transformation. Instead of gratitude, I get, "Oh, did you see Mark's new post? He looks insane." As if I'm supposed to be impressed by basic biology and a gym membership. It's so toxic how society rewards men for doing the bare minimum while I'm out here maintaining a consistent aesthetic daily. Mark knows exactly what he's doing, and it's the most passive-aggressive move I've ever seen. He's trying to make me look like the villain who let a king go, which is a total fabrication of the facts. I've tried to ignore it, but the energy is just so off now. Every social gathering feels like a countdown until someone brings up his name or his new fitness journey. It's reached a point where I feel like a guest in my own life because everyone is so preoccupied with his muscles. He's stolen the spotlight that I spent years building, and he's doing it with zero shame. It's just so typical of a man to take a dignified exit and turn it into a circus. The final straw came when I realized he was actually blocking my growth. I was talking to a potential brand partner and they mentioned they saw Mark's recent viral workout clip and thought it was inspiring. How am I supposed to secure luxury lifestyle deals when my ex is out here being a budget fitness influencer? He's literally devaluing my entire existence by association. It's not just a breakup anymore. It's a full-on sabotage of my professional and social standing. Main story comments. Anonymous user 1 says, so let me get this straight. You cheated on him, dumped him, and now you're mad because he's actually taking care of himself? You sound like a total narcissist. Ope's reply, it wasn't cheating. It was an emotional realignment that he wasn't ready for. And yes, it's petty to use your body to win a breakup. It's very 2012. Anonymous user 2 says your friends aren't obsessed. They just have eyes. Maybe if you spent less time curating your life and more time being a decent partner, you wouldn't be in this position. Ops reply, my friends are supposed to follow the girl code. Falling for a revenge body trap is a betrayal of our collective brand. You clearly don't understand loyalty. Update 1. It has been 3 weeks since the initial shock of Mark's transformation hit my feed, and things have only spiraled into more absurdity. He has officially moved past the progress photo stage and entered full-on thirst trap territory, posting videos of himself doing pull-ups in slow motion. It's so performative and clearly designed to trigger my notifications, which I refuse to give him the satisfaction of clicking. I can see the little red dots mounting up, and I know half of them are my mutual followers tagging each other in his comments. It's like he's turned his entire personality into a gym locker room, and it's incredibly off-putting for someone with my refined taste. I decided that as the leader of my friend group, I needed to step in and provide some much-needed perspective before things got out of hand. I sent a very long, very thoughtful message to the group chat explaining how Mark's sudden obsession with his physique was actually a sign of deep-seated trauma. I told them that we should probably distance ourselves from his content to give him space to heal without the pressure of our attention. I thought I was being incredibly supportive in helping them maintain their dignity. Instead of agreeing, they mostly just sent laughing emojis or told me I was overthinking it. The audacity of Chloe was what really hurt, though. She had the nerve to suggest that I was just jealous of the engagement he was getting. Jealous? I have 3 times his follower count and a much more sophisticated color palette on my grid. I explained to her that engagement built on sweat and vanity is fleeting, while my brand is built on vibe and substance. She just replied with a link to his latest reel where he's flipping a giant tire, and honestly, the lack of loyalty was staggering. I spent the rest of the week trying to moderate the conversation whenever his name came up, but it was like trying to stop a landslide. Every time we went out for drinks, the topic would inevitably veer toward, have you seen Mark's arms? Or, I wonder what his routine is. I had to sit there and sip my skinny, spicy marg while they discussed my ex like he was some kind of prize at a county fair. It was humiliating to realize that my presence wasn't enough to keep their attention focused on the actual talent in the room. I felt like I was being slowly erased from my own social circle by a pair of biceps. By the end of the month, Mark's follower count had doubled, and he was starting to get tagged by local fitness brands. It's so transparent that he's just riding the wave of the drama I inadvertently created by being honest about our breakup. If I hadn't been mature enough to end things, he'd still be sitting on the couch eating chips and watching me do my makeup. He's literally built a new life on the ruins of the relationship I chose to leave. It's the ultimate form of clout chasing, and I can't believe no one else sees through the ruse. Update 1 comments. Anonymous user 1 says, moderating the group chat? You mean trying to censor your friends because your ego can't handle them liking someone else? You're literally the toxic one here. Ops reply, I wasn't censoring. I was curating the mental health of the group. Seeing an ex-partner spiraling into gym addiction is triggering, and I was protecting them. Anonymous user 2 says Mark is getting brand deals now. LOL. Sounds like he's the one with the main character energy now. Maybe you should take notes. Ops reply, brand deals for protein powder are not main character energy, they are manual labor energy. Ideal in luxury and lifestyle, which he could never touch. Update 2. 2 months have passed since I tried to save my friends from their own bad taste, and the universe decided to test me in the most aggressive way possible. My friend Sarah threw a birthday party, and despite my soft suggestions that it might be awkward, she invited Mark. I made sure to arrive late, looking absolutely radiant in a silk slip dress that cost more than Mark's entire gym membership, expecting to shut down the room. I had my mature and distant greeting practiced in the mirror for 20 minutes. I was ready to show everyone who the real star was, regardless of who was in the room. The moment I walked in, however, nobody even looked at my dress. They were all crowded around the kitchen island where Mark was standing, wearing a t-shirt that was clearly 2 sizes too small. He looked like he had been sculpted out of granite, and the way he was laughing so loud and confident was totally out of character. It was like he was playing a role, and everyone was falling for it. I stood by the door for a full 3 minutes before anyone even noticed I was there, which is a record for me. When I finally made my way over to humble him, I leaned into my most condescending influencer voice. I told him he looked healthy, but warned him about the dangers of overcompensating after a breakup. I even suggested he look into some inner work instead of just focusing on the external, because true beauty comes from alignment. He just looked at me with this calm, pitying smile and said, "I've never felt more aligned, actually. Thanks for the wake-up call." He then walked away to talk to Chloe, leaving me standing there like an extra in my own movie. The rest of the night was a total disaster for my brand. Every time I tried to start a conversation about my upcoming trip to Tulum, someone would interrupt to ask Mark about his macros. It was nauseating. I watched as my friends women I have mentored in the ways of social grace practically lined up to touch his arm. I tried to pull Sarah aside to tell her that his presence was making the energy heavy, but she just told me to loosen up and that Mark was the life of the party. I felt like I was being gaslit by my entire social circle. Here was a man who only had this body because I decided to move on, and they were treating him like he was the one who had made the brave choice. I spent half the party in the bathroom trying to fix my lighting for a vibe check selfie, but even my own camera felt like it was betraying me. The shadows were all wrong and I could hear them laughing in the other room. It was the first time in years I felt like I wasn't the most important person in the room. I left early, claiming I had an early morning creative session, but really, I just couldn't stand to see Chloe flirting with him. She was leaning in way too close, and the way she was looking at him was a total violation of the ex-boyfriend treaty. We never formally signed, but which is heavily implied. Mark didn't even watch me leave. He didn't even try to catch my eye for one last look of regret. It was so incredibly disrespectful of the 3 years I spent elevating his life. Update 2 comments. Anonymous user 1 says, "Inner work? You literally cheated on him. You're the last person who should be giving advice on alignment. He's thriving and you're seething." Ops reply, "Growth isn't linear, and my mistake was a catalyst for both of us. He just chose the shallowest path possible. I'm still the one with the depth here." Anonymous user 2 says, "Chloe leaning in too close. Sounds like she's finally upgrading. Mark looks like a snack and you're just mad you're not the one eating." Ops reply, "Chloe is shopping in the clearance bin of my past. It's not an upgrade, it's a desperate attempt to catch the crumbs of my leftovers." Update 3. 6 months have dragged by since that cursed party and the betrayal has finally reached its peak. I found out through a third-party story because Chloe restricted me on Instagram that she and Mark are officially seeing each other. My best friend, the girl who sat through all my venting sessions about Mark's lack of ambition, is now dating the man I built. It is the ultimate betrayal of the girl code, and honestly, it's a direct attack on my personal brand. They've been seen all over the city, usually at the gym or some active date spot, looking like a fitness magazine cover. I tried to call Chloe to give her a chance to explain herself, but she didn't even pick up. She sent me a text saying that she didn't want any drama, and that Mark makes her really happy. Happy? With my leftovers? I sent her a very professional voice note explaining that her choices were reflecting poorly on our friendship, and that she was essentially recycling energy that I had already processed and discarded. I told her that for the sake of her own reputation, she should probably reconsider. She didn't even reply, she just blocked me. The fallout in our group chat has been even worse. Everyone is taking Team Chloe and Mark's sides, claiming that they are perfect for each other because they both love the gym. Since when did my friends become so basic? I'd been effectively cast out of the group I basically founded because I'm the only one with the moral clarity to see how messy this is. They're all hanging out at Mark's new apartment, which is way nicer than our old one. Probably because he's finally working and posting photos of group workouts. I feel like I'm living in a parallel universe where being a loyal friend means nothing, and having six-pack abs means everything. Mark has completely hijacked my social life, using Chloe as his in to stay relevant in my circle. It's a calculated move to isolate me and make me look like the problem, which is so incredibly manipulative. He's not just dating her. He's colonizing my friendships. Every time I see a photo of them together, I feel a physical ick that I can't even describe in a caption. I've reached a point where I can't even go to my favorite brunch spots because I'm afraid I'll run into them and their high-protein lifestyle. It's an absolute nightmare for my mental health and my content creation. I've had to find an entirely new set of background friends just to have people to take my photos, but they don't know my angles like the old group did. Mark didn't just take his body to the next level. He took my entire support system with him. It's the most successful revenge plot in history, and I'm the only one who can see it for what it truly is, a desperate cry for my attention. Update 3 comments. Anonymous user 1 says, colonizing my friendships? You are literally insane. They're happy and you are alone because you're a toxic cheater who thinks the world revolves around her. Oops reply, you clearly don't understand the nuances of social dynamics. Taking an ex's best friend is a predatory move, regardless of happiness. It's about power, not love. Anonymous user 2 says the girl code doesn't apply when you've been a terrible friend and a worse girlfriend. Enjoy your new background friends. They're probably only there for the free matcha. Ops reply, my new friends are actually much more aligned with my current frequency. And I pay for my own matcha, thank you very much. It's called being an independent creator. Update 4. It's been a full year now, and I've finally realized that some people are simply committed to living in a shallow reality. Mark and Chloe are still together, and they've recently started a couples fitness account that is getting way more traction than it deserves. It's all very sunsets and squats, and it lacks any sort of artistic merit or intellectual depth. I tried to do a tell-all story time on my channel to expose the toxicity of their relationship and how Mark used his revenge body to manipulate my friends, but the response was underwhelming. People actually had the nerve to call me bitter in the comments, as if defending your brand is a negative thing. I've decided that the only way to win is to ascend to a level of success that they can't even fathom. I'm leaning heavily into the healed and high-vibe aesthetic, focusing on meditation retreats and high-end wellness content. If Mark wants to be a gym bro with my ex-best friend, that's his choice, but he'll never have the cultural capital that I possess. I've stopped following all of them, not because I'm hurt, but because their energy is simply too low for my current frequency. I'm essentially a ghost to them now. A beautiful, unattainable specter of what they lost. I still get the occasional, did you see message from some of the hangers-on in the old group, but I just delete them without reading. I don't need to see Mark's shredded physique or Chloe's fitness journey to know that they are living a lie. They are building a life on the foundation of my mistake, and eventually, that foundation will crumble because it lacks the main character spark that only I can provide. They are merely the spin-off series while I am the original, award-winning production. In the end, Mark's little transformation was actually a gift to me. It showed me who my true friends were, none of them. And it pushed me to find a new, even more exclusive circle of elite influencers who actually understand the weight of a curated life. He can keep his muscles and his revenge. I'll keep my dignity and my skyrocketing engagement. I've learned that the best way to handle a revenge body is to simply out-brand it. He might be hot now, but I am and will always be the moment. Mark is just a gym membership. I am a movement.